NAB 2018, we're here with Dan, and we've got a nice little camera. I call it the Bat camera, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Hey, let's talk about this. This is actually very exciting. We got a lot to talk about at Blackmagic Design, and we're going to start with this. Tell us what this is.
So this is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K.
Okay.
This is a kind of a new version of our original Pocket camera. Obviously it is 4K, but it does a lot more than just that.
Yeah.
You're going to see some of the similarities with the MFT lens. You're going to see the 13 stops of dynamic range and recording to ProRes and RAW. But like I said, tons of new upgrades.
Yeah.
We've got a brand new 4/3 sensor in here, so much bigger sensor, giving you that 1-to-1 ratio with the lens.
Sensor,
Full
if you
sensor.
want to upgrade and go from there.
Absolutely, which is great. Well, we're going to also do things like, not only do we have the SD card like we did on the original Pocket camera, we have a CFast card slot on here, and that's important for doing things like Ultra HD and high frame rates.
Yeah.
But on top of that, we also have a USB-C output on here, and what that's great for is if we want to hook up a drive, we're going to record all day, or a little flash drive, we can hook that directly up and it just sends ones and zeros as data over, and you can record kind of endlessly off to a big drive.
That's USB-C, that's not Thunderbolt, so there's no, at least not as of yet, there's no streaming capability.
Yeah, you can't actually send it out as video. It's just basically sending it out as data, the ones and zeros right now. But still really cool. Also being able to have the mini XLR on here. We haven't had XLR on our small Pocket cameras. That'll carry phantom power as well. So if you want to have a powered mic on here to get really good interviews and things like that, we think that's going to be a great solution for people. You know, it's a great personal camera. You know, some people will use it as an A camera. Some people use it for vlogging. We put a nice little record button right on the front there. So if we want to go ahead and do some of that recording, we can do it right from the front.
So yeah, it looks like a regular DSLR camera. It's a little bit bigger than the other one.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the challenges was trying to do a 4K camera small. You know, there's a lot of thermal that has to go into making a camera that can do all that processing power, do that 4K. We've got this huge 5-inch screen on the back, so you can only really make it so small. And this is about as small as we could get that, but it is still roughly going to come out to be about 1.7 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no different than it might be just a little bit bigger than a DSLR camera, but it fits well in the hands, and especially one hand if you're moving it around.
And we've added things for that one-handed capability, like being able to have the record button as well as the wheel to be able to change through all of our settings.
There's the wheel, okay.
New buttons on the top to be able to change our ISO or programmable functions on there. Loading on LUTs, which we can bake right into the file, or that we can go out to the HDMI output or the monitor. So lots of little new features. You'll have your finger right over the photo button. So if you're not in record mode, we can just take a DNG and stick it into a photo.
So you can't take the photo and record it.
Can't do the photo and recording at the same time, but it's great when you're out and you're just trying to record and like, let me try a few photos I'm going to use in some promos or something later, click. And with a 4K resolution, you know, you've got a pretty decent sized picture to be able to work with later. So
absolutely.
Tons of new features in this camera. It's going to be shipping in September, but at $12.95, we're also including a full version of our DaVinci Resolve 15, which is really exciting for a lot of people.
That's awesome. Screen, I love the screen in the back. It's 16 by 9, right?
Yeah, it's a full 1080 actual screen on the back, really bright. We wanted to make sure it didn't have any of the reflective glare that we've seen on some of the touch screens in the past.
It's anti-glare, okay. Perfect.
So it's really, it's very responsive. People so far, the 2 days of the show, have been super impressed with it, so really glad to get this in people's hands.
And it's a fixed screen.
It is a fixed screen. That was one thing we did have to kind of compromise on. We couldn't flip it around to get adds weight, adds cost, adds point of failure, but we felt that for what we were providing, it actually is quite a lot.
Well, this is what you would do if you were a vlogger, unless you got like a little thing down here, but yeah, I guess that button's right in the right spot.
It's right in the right spot to be able to start things.
Yeah, perfect. But let's also talk about what else you guys talked about here at NAB 2018.
Sure. One of the big things we've announced this week is also our ATEM Television Studio Pro 4K. Now, we launched our ATEM Television Studio Pro HD last year, widely accepted as a great HD switcher for people that want.
Which we did a video on last year.
Absolutely. Great product comes out, and we've continued to work on those. So this new product is something that obviously does Ultra HD, but one of the nice things we've also done to that is added an actual up-down cross convert on every one of those inputs. And that's the first time we've done that on a switcher, which is great because if we say, look, I've got a 720 source, I've got a 1080 source, I've got an Ultra HD source, I've got a laptop with a DVI output that's something else, you know, great to be able to have that kind of functionality be there so you can just have everything work right out of the box.
Yeah, which is the biggest problem I've always had with my ATEMs. If you don't have the same camera, same everything.
Yep.
It makes it a lot tougher to do anything.
So this makes it a lot easier, and it's, you know, for something it's part of a cost thing, but it's also being able to maximize our own IP, right? That Terranex IP that we have, being able to put those into all of those, totally works out great for us to be able to have that and present that to our customers. But new things like adding our Fairlight audio directly into there, adding our new green screen capabilities in there. So those are things that we're really happy to have on this ATEM Television Studio Pro 4K. DaVinci Resolve 15 is great. We've got this all out in there now, adding fair light capabilities, 100 some odd new editing and color grade. But the big news in there is adding our new Fusion effects page.
Okay.
So Fusion has been our effects software used by Hollywood for many, many years.
Yeah.
Now we're adding a brand new page in there to be doing some of this effects work like 3D titles, particles, being able to do rotoscoping, any of those type of things that were just things that you wouldn't normally as an editor get into, or certainly as a colorist, but being able to have that all within one application, balance between edit, color, Fairlight, and now effects, really adding a whole new dynamic to the Resolve software. Really happy to have that in beta on the site today for people to download and start working with.
Awesome. Can't wait to give it a try.
You got it.
All right, so lots of cool stuff, but of course the focus for me and for, is this thing, because I love to have a nice 4K camera, 60 frames a second, full 4x3 sensor. I can't wait to try it out and actually see how it's going to really change the way that I do my video, especially as a YouTuber and podcaster.
Yeah, when we see that as such an important market, that is the new broadcast, really, and we see so many people going out there wanting to use truly professional tools, but want them to be affordable, and of course that's right in Blackmagic Design's wheelhouse, so happy to have that out there.
And I'll be able to change it out with different types of lenses?
So it is an MFT lens mount, so it's just going to be MFT, but MFT is one of the most adaptable lens mounts possible, so you can get like an MFT to EF or something like that if you want to change to a different lens mount.
Absolutely. Dan, thank you very much for your time.
You got it.
All right, well, lots of cool stuff here at NAB 2018. Maybe by next year I'll be doing video from this thing. You never know. So, got a lot of cool videos over at geekazine.com, youtube.com/geekazine. Go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification for the next video. As always, Jeffrey Powers here. Once again, thanks to Dan. Thanks to Blackmagic Design for all the cool space and being able to hang here and find out what they're up to for 2018. Till next time, you guys, geek out.